as you've heard, again, our message is directly to the people of West Virginia. Our message is directly to the people of West Virginia. And that is, this is your government, your voice should be heard. We're talking about your economy and your jobs. We're talking about your tax dollars and how they're spent. And we're talking about your priorities and your values. And we're here to represent you, people of West Virginia. We've heard your frustration. We've heard what you want done here. And we're here for the next 60 days to work for you. So now we would be happy to take any questions you may have about any of these priorities. Let me also mention that this is the first set of priorities we have. We will certainly be having other initiatives that we'll be rolling out during the session, and we'll be happy to share those as we move forward. But today, we'd be happy to take any questions you may have about these issues. Yes, Tom?
In order to get anything passed, you're going to need to persuade 2 to 3 dozen Democrats in the House to go along. How do you go about doing that? I mean, especially some of these issues have come up in the past, and they haven't gone through. I mean, what's different this year?
I think certainly we can all recognize that the people of West Virginia are energized. People across America are energized. They have really tuned in to the role that government plays in their lives. They've really tuned in to how government efficiencies and inefficiencies affect their lives. How the things that we pass here in Charleston affect their lives on a day-to-day basis. And I truly believe that the people of West Virginia are going to demand changes during this session. And those changes are going to be demanded, and those who don't listen to the demand of the people to make changes will pay the consequences in November. So I truly do believe that we will see a change in attitude in this Capitol. And if we don't see it, we'll see it next year one more time, because we'll have a different makeup of this legislature. So I ask the people of West Virginia, if you agree with what we're putting forward, that you do make sure that you let your delegates and senators know that. And I think that will be the change in how we move forward in this session. Any other questions?
Kind of curious, real quick, just the one point on your agenda there. You say offsetting any federal restrictions we see, particularly of energy. Do you have any specific proposals about how you go about doing that? I mean, are you talking about tax breaks or?
Well, I think one of the reasons that we have set it up as we have, which is to have a committee whose role is to look at that, is that first of all, we don't know what the final health care bill will look like. We certainly hope that we will never see a cap and trade bill. But if we do see one, we don't know the content of that. So what we need to do is have a group of legislators who are ready and already have a background in these areas and ready to move forward and take whatever steps we can take. Some of those steps may very well be, as you've mentioned, some tax reductions or tax breaks for businesses that are hit from the federal level. But it may also be looking at ways from a regulatory standpoint. We make it easier to do business in West Virginia to offset the difficulty that may be created from a federal level. So there are a number of different approaches that we think we can take to address these issues, and we need to work together to do this. We're talking about, seriously, some of the most basic industries in West Virginia. When we're talking about coal, oil, gas, the extractive industries in West Virginia, those are some of the basic building blocks of West Virginia. And certainly, if there's no other area that we might be able to meet in a bipartisan fashion, we certainly should be able to do it in that area. And be able to take some procedures and move forward in a bipartisan fashion to lessen the impact that these bills will have. In terms of health care, we have some initiatives we're going to look at, and perhaps Delegate Miller might want to touch on some initiatives we can take in West Virginia with regard to the health care bill. If it passes in either form that it's currently in the Senate or House form, there's some steps that we can take. And Jonathan, you may want to share some thoughts on that.
Thanks, Tim. I'm the lead sponsor of the Health Care Freedom Act. That will protect your freedom to buy the health care you want without the threat of punishment from the government. This is a constitutionally sound principle because states have the authority to grant greater individual liberty protections to their citizens than what the federal government allows. So this is granting in our state constitution, that would be the push, would be to put it in the state constitution, the individual liberty protection to buy the health care you want without the threat of punishment from the government. That's an important thing to uphold. That's an important freedom to uphold in this health care debate, because what's what's going on nationally is the individual employer mandate. That's the main piece of Obamacare, whether it's the House bill or the Senate bill. What that will do is that will not only mandate people who don't have insurance to buy it. Of course, they would incur a fine if they don't, and it's kind of it's not very logical to force someone to buy insurance when they can't, or to force someone to pay a fine when they can't even afford to buy insurance. Secondly, you will see probably about, thousands of West Virginians, if not more, who will lose their, or have to be forced to buy more expensive health insurance. In Massachusetts, for example, when Massachusetts implemented its individual employer mandate, about 20% of people who already had health insurance had to buy more expensive health insurance. The Cato Institute estimates nationwide that 100 million people will have to buy more expensive health insurance. So we're not just talking about protecting people who don't have it, we're talking about protecting people who do have health insurance. So the idea that, the President and the Congress want to pass a bill that would not take away your health insurance plan, the phrase that, if you have health insurance, you can keep it. If you like it, you can keep it. That's just not true with this bill that they're passing. So we can take the step to put that into our Constitution, which is very important. And, I would hope that the majority in the legislature would protect the individual freedom of our citizens to buy the health care they want. Because this has traditionally been a principle that liberals and conservatives have always agreed on, that you should not force individuals to buy insurance. Liberals have always been opposed to that because they think it's immoral to force people to buy insurance because the insurance companies have done so many wrong things in their mind to the public already. And we just believe that it's an individual liberty that's worth protecting. So I think that we should come to an agreement on this. There's about 24 states that are pushing it right now. If we can have a national movement to support this initiative, we can guarantee people's individual liberty, which will have a roadblock to Obamacare, and will end up setting up a good opportunity for West Virginia citizens to be brought into a national movement to protect their individual liberty. If we don't, then we're putting our citizens at a disadvantage, and we're not giving them the protection that these other states will be doing. Arizona is the first, and they will probably put in their constitution this coming year. So I would hope that we would be willing to take that step, because I think that this is something we should all be able to agree on, no matter where you stand when it comes to health care. You should be willing to accept the fact that people shouldn't be forced to do something that they may not want to do.
Any other questions?